In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Sikaflex to reseal and fill the expansion joints in a concrete backyard. These are the expansion joints. Much of this wood had rotten, so I've cleaned it all up and blown it away. The goal here is to clear about 1 inch deep. Sometimes to do that, I had to chisel the wood. Sometimes the wood came up all by itself and went quite deep. Your goal is not to clean it out completely. Your goal is to get about 1 inch deep, which we will then fill with sand to about ½ inch deep, so that when we pour the Sikaflex in the crack, it can actually seal on either side. It's like cork. This isn't just filling, you want it to remain flexible, and you'll see how it progresses later. Here, it's not that deep, but I think that's going to be okay. I did after that, I went and used my blower to clean it. That's generally to get a clean work area, so that later when I've got the Sikaflex down, I don't get this dirt going on top of my Sikaflex. Also, I plan to use masking tape when I miss, and I want that to stick. As you can see, I've pulled up quite a lot of wood, quite a lot of dirt comes up with it as well. Variety. This is what I did earlier. This was my first kind of run. I'm happy with that result. And those were some big cracks, probably caused by subsidence when they built next door. And my goal now is to basically do the rest of my yard. My tools of choice for cleaning up the odd expansion joints: a couple of chisels, old chisels. Sometimes my nominal, I guess that's 1 inch one, was just too wide. So sometimes I need a narrow one. Sometimes this is perfect. You kind of have a lot of stuff to lift up, so the trowel is quite useful. Gloves, otherwise you're going to scratch. And a trusty bucket. Having dug out these cracks, the next stage is preparing the surfaces so that they can seal on. And for that, I'm using a wire brush to get inside these cracks. You can see sometimes you'll have a nice surface the stuff is going to seal on. Other times you have a bit of a void that the self-leveling Sikaflex is going to go into. And you just do the best you can to clean up any debris that's on this concrete so you can get a nice seal. Sometimes it's a bit wider, like in this case, and an electric drill with a cup wire brush might be able to get some of the surface, which can help depending on how deep the Sikaflex is going to go, but it will still need some wire brush to seal it. Wire brush is also a good gauge of how deep you've got. You don't need to go any deeper than that, and you can see when you've cleaned up the side that you're going to get a seal on, and the rest of that I'll be able to brush down into either a bigger hole or maybe dig it up. Having used the wire brush everywhere, next I'm going to use my shop vac to really, primarily clean the surfaces that the cork is going to be sticking against. That's the two sides, not the bottom. I'm not trying to clean it out, but I might suck a little bit off the bottom. And secondly, to suck any debris off the surface, the top surface, so that my masking tape will be able to go down, and then I will masking tape the sides to make sure I don't get any of my Sikaflex onto the main piece of the concrete. When placing the Sikaflex into the crack, you have the decision of how deep to make it. And this is a couple of examples. The one on the right was my prototype first run. The one on the left, my second run. Main difference is that crack's quite a lot wider than that one. That's just the way it is. I also sprinkled more sand after applying the Sikaflex on the left hand one than the right, because I had some better sand. I'm actually going to go back and top up the one on the right. I think having the Sikaflex close to flush with the concrete is a better look. I think it'll probably seal better. There's more to seal, and also then there's less of a low point for stuff, either debris or water, to gather. Finished cleaning and masking all of the grooves, so now it's ready for some sand. I like just this regular clay sand because it's just smooth and fine. It goes in very well. Actually use a little cup like that, put it in. This piece of wood is the magic, I think. That little lip there, in this case, is about 1/2 inch. That's the depth I'm targeting. This might crack a little over 1 inch or about 1 inch, so I'll use that. That crack back there is actually a bit less than that. I struggled with my chisel to make it fit, so I'll probably chop it down a little bit when I go to do that side. Why not go so deep? One, I think it's better the way that it works, so that it's more flexible and can flex and stay stuck, and secondly, you're just using less material. The sand kind of fills the crack. Sometimes if there's a void down there, you just keep filling the sand until it keeps filling into the crack. This, make sure everything goes to the right depth. Nice and even. And then a little paintbrush is useful for a bit of cleanup. Remembering, really, the sand is there, so it's something the cork doesn't stick to. So you want to clean up that side so that it does stick to the side. And when the sand is complete, you've essentially got all of the trenches, old expansion joints with sand up to about 1/2 inch from the top. Looking at this now, I can see how backer might be quicker to use than putting all this down, but I think it's probably more difficult because you've got to get the seal, so you've got to get it just right width, and then getting it the distance from the top might be difficult. But that's ready to start pouring Sikaflex. Right, ready for the application of Sika Pro. Is the self-leveling sealant. I'm going with the color gray. I have plenty. You don't want to run out before finishing the job. I'm just going to wear these gloves. It's really difficult to get off your hands. So paper towel ready. And these are 29 ounce tubes, so I have a special 29 ounce gun. I generally poke 2 holes and cut kind of a big hole on the top. You just kind of want it to flow out pretty quickly. And this is what it looks like the following morning. So I filled all the cracks with the Sikaflex. Even though I had twice as much as what I thought I'd need, I still needed to go and get some more yesterday. I just really wanted to finish. And you can see what I've done. I've sprinkled a little bit of the sand on top, and I've pulled up the masking tape. You can see the masking tape sometimes a little bit leaked underneath. It's still a little bit soft if you look kind of closely. See, it still flexes. It takes a while, several days, to go really hard. What I've done over here, so you can see what it looks like. That's with the sand on top here. I vacuumed up the sand. So kind of that's the final look that it gets, so that it already looks a bit aged. and over the next, I think, month, it just gets harder and harder.